Hi, my name's Graham Ward and I'll be facilitating you through this next unit standard. The unit standard is induct a new member into a team. Unit standard number 13911. The specific outcomes of this unit standard are: 1. Prepare to receive a new team member. 2. Introduce a new member of a team. 3. Explain how the performance of a team is monitored. 4. Explain the opportunities available in an organization for lifelong learning. So let's just understand the real reason for inducting new team members into a team. The main reason is to make them feel comfortable and as productive as quickly as possible so that they can start to contribute towards the organization's goals. Let's take a look at some reasons as to why you would want to induct team members into a team. It confirms the commitment of the company and employee towards each other. It gives clear expectations as to what the employee is going to have to do. Of course, it gives a hearty welcome to the employee and makes them feel good about being part of the organization. Bear in mind that induction is complete once prohibition has taken place. That is normally 3 months after employment has started. It's a good idea to give the employee a work buddy that'll help them walk through the process of induction, meet other employees, and generally feel welcome at the company. It's always important also to give new employees feedback. Help them to understand where they are and where they're going wrong, or what they could be doing to correct their actions or improve their performance. Occupational health and safety is a must. Each employee must understand what's right and what's wrong within the organization, where there could be potential danger and where to avoid this. All right, nothing's finished until the paperwork's done. And with employee induction documents, that's also the case. For example, you could be talking about the employee contract or occupational health and safety sign-offs. Things like that could be important to an employee. Take, for example, telephone answering procedure or taxation information or when payment for salaries will take place. But these important documents are necessary when it comes to employee induction. And then again, we'll also need to give the employee some office supplies, for example. Business cards, stationery. How about protective clothing maybe, which could be quite useful to the employee and also essential to the environment he works in. It's recently been shown that mentoring is an important part of inducting a new employee. It helps the employee feel comfortable and part of the organization early on. Some of the things we might consider when mentoring employees are that the company and employee commit towards each other, that the company shows appreciation towards the employee, allows the employee new ideas, help them to contribute towards the organization and improving the organization, that there should be mutual goals between the company and the employee. It's important to positively reinforce the employee that there may be areas for improvement. Pointing out areas where employees could improve will help the employee climb up the corporate ladder as well. It's always important when it comes to mentoring to have regular review meetings. This allows both employer and employee to stand on the common ground and understand where improvements or changes could be made. So it's important that HR places a value on this mentoring process. The employee will find a benefit in this mentoring process, and if HR takes it seriously, it can benefit both employer and employee. Aside from a mentoring program, the induction program needs to consider before the employee starts, perhaps even day one, and then a month after the employee has begun their work. An induction program should try to make an employee feel comfortable. Encourage the employee by saying hello and welcoming them to other employees. As we've said, a mentor or guide would be very useful to helping the employee get through the difficult stages of starting a new position. Things like computer access or ID cards or parking or office stationery are all part of the induction guide. And also bear in mind, don't overwhelm the employee with too much information in the beginning. Have a set-up program and understand that the employee is in an unusual place and it's going to take time for them to become adapted to the situation. On day one, you might look at an orientation pack that includes sample forms and various things the employee may have to think about. What about providing the employee with a step-by-step checklist for day one, day two, week 2? These are all helpful in orientating the employee. Maybe even a list of frequently asked questions. Where's the toilet? Where's the smoking area? Where's the canteen? These are answers you can provide the employee before he even starts. As HR, it might be quite useful to buy the employee a cup of coffee after day one, just to understand where they are and where they're going. Have they any concerns? You may be able to settle the employee and help them feel more comfortable within your organization. After month one, make sure it's still fun for the employee to connect with you. Give them some responsibilities, perhaps some reason to give you feedback. And don't forget, induction really only ends after 3 months. So ensure that the employee and you have regular ongoing meetings. The happier your employees are and the quickly that they become one within your company, the more likely your company is able to grow with those existing employees. Remember, your human resources, your employees, are the key to the success of your organization. Every organization has rules and regulations. Every organization has things that employees can and cannot do, and it's important that each employee understands what he can and cannot do. What about the authorization for the use of equipment, time, and property within your organization? How about being absent or sick? Are there forms to be filled in? Safety rules that need to be adhered to, such as safety shoes or safety equipment. The use of alcohol is prohibited normally on premises. Bear in mind also smoking and non-smoking areas within your organization. Help your employee to understand where these are if they're a smoker. How do employees handle telephone calls? How do they answer? What's the telephone etiquette? And of course, employees must adhere to certain behavior of language, of non-verbal language. It's important that there's no abuse, or that confidential information of your organization is kept and adhered to. Gross misconduct can lead your employee to dismissal. It's important they understand what would be considered gross misconduct within your organization. There's various benefits as to why working in teams helps, such as customer satisfaction, quality of your products, or even customer retention. Let's have a look at a couple of these on the slide right now from what research has done. Research shows that area of teamwork improves quality by 72%, job satisfaction by 65%, customer satisfaction by 57%, waste reduction by 55%, and even productivity by as much as 77%. So you can see the benefits of working in teams is really worthwhile as an HR practitioner. When it comes to disciplining employees, the following procedures may take place. There could be a verbal caution for problematic behavior, or even a verbal warning for unacceptable behavior. When that's not enough, an employee can expect to receive a written warning, and this gets placed in the personal file of the employee in the HR department. Following that is suspension, where an employee is asked to stand down from his post until further notice. At this point, the employee may be expected to take a decision-making leave. That is, to think about whether they would like to still be employed by the employer. And finally, there's the stage where there's termination of the employee. This is the worst-case scenario. No HR person ever wants to terminate an employee, and their conduct has to be in such a bad nature that termination is the only option. Lifelong learning is a partnership between the employer and the employee. It starts with the employee doing a self-assessment, understanding what their needs might be. This may lead to the employer telling the employee what sort of career path there is ahead within the company. This ultimately all boils down to career management. Certain skills will need to be developed in order to achieve the career path the learner or the employee wishes to have. It's very important, therefore, that HR and the employee are in partnership when it comes to lifelong learning. So, for example, the employer should consider the following. Provide training that meets the basic competencies of the employee's job. Develop what the organization will need in the future in the employee. Keep up to date with everyday trends, such as industry trends, and encourage employees to develop individual plans for themselves and their career paths. On the other side of the coin, the employee should consider the following. Also, keep up to date with day-to-day trends or everyday trends in the industry. It's also important to realize that the employee also has the responsibility to let HR know what their goals are and where they'd like to be, so that plans can get developed for them. Remember, a happy team member is a productive team member. I thank you for watching this video. I'm Graham Ward, and good luck with the online assessment.